Welcome to Spectrum Television News at 9. I am Uyai Anyeka and coming to you live from Uyo, the capital city of Akwa Ibom State, Nigeria. Let's take a look at the headlines. FEC approves 2.17 trillion naira 2023 supplementary budget. President Tinubu hails Afe Babalola at 92. Plus, Israel's Netanyahu rules out Gaza ceasefire, vows to win war against barbarians. We'll bring you details of these stories and more in a moment. Good evening and thanks for joining us. First in the news tonight, the Federal Executive Council, FEC, has approved 2.17 trillion naira as the second supplementary budget for this year, 2023. Atiku Bagudu, the Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, revealed this to journalists today after the council meeting, which was presided over by President Bola Tinubu at the State House, Abuja. Bagudu explained that out of the proposed amount, 605 billion naira would be expended on national defense and security, while about 300 billion naira would be earmarked for the maintenance of bridges. The minister also disclosed that 210 billion would go for the payment of wage awards to civil servants and 400 billion naira for cash transfers to vulnerable households. He also announced that 100 billion naira provision was made in the budget proposals as infrastructure support for the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, and another 800 billion naira for the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to conduct the off-season governorship elections in Bayelsa, Imo, and Kogi State. According to Bagudu, another provision of 8 billion naira was included in the supplementary budget for the takeoff of the newly created ministries such as Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy. Meanwhile, the Federal Executive Council has approved 5.9 billion naira for the construction of access roads for the Abuja light rail system. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, stated this to State House correspondents while disclosing the outcomes of this week's council meeting chaired by President Bola Tinubu at a Rock Villa, Abuja. Wike explained that the president has set a timeline for the completion of the Abuja Light Rail project, emphasizing the importance of preparing the access roads to the railway station. In the meantime, the Minister of Defense, Mohammed Badaru, and the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Abubakar, have traveled to Turkey to facilitate the speedy delivery of T-129 attack helicopters to the Nigerian Air Force. The Director, Public Relations and Information, NAF Air Commodore Edward Gabwet, said in a statement that 2 of the 6 units of T-129 attack helicopters procured by the federal government from the Turkish aerospace industry will be delivered in the coming weeks. He said the remaining 4 helicopters are expected to be delivered before the end of the second quarter of 2024. According to the NAF spokesman, the defense minister held talks with his Turkish counterpart, Lieutenant General Yasar Gula, on critical bilateral and defense cooperation between the two countries. To the number one citizen now, President Bola Tinubu, who has warned government officials and family members against attending the Federal Executive Council FEC meeting without invitation. Tinubu issued the warning before the commencement of the FEC meeting at the Presidential Villa, Abuja today. The President directed the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, and the Head of Civil Service of the Federation, Folashade Yemi, to take note of his directive. Tinubu, however, expressed absolute confidence in the integrity of his chief of staff, Femi Gbajabiamila. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu today said he has absolute confidence in the integrity of his chief of staff, Femi Gbajabiamila. Tinubu said this just before the commencement of this week's Federal Executive Council meeting at the Council Chamber of the Presidential Villa, Abuja. His comments come just 48 hours after a report emerged that the COS may be battling an integrity crisis following allegations that he has been trading off appointments in the government of President Tinubu to the highest bidder. The report alleged a growing outcry among Tinubu's loyalists who are insisting that Gbajabiamila is eased out of the presidential villa, citing the appointment of 10 resident electoral commissioners of the Independent National Electoral Commission. The report quoted sources who claimed that the name of Ekiti Rec was replaced with the name of a former commissioner under the immediate past governor of Ekiti State, Kayode Fayemi. In the meantime, 10 years after the partial privatization of the Nigerian electricity supply industry, NESI, the federal government, today admitted that the exercise had failed to meet its objectives. The government described as shameful the current generation, transmission and distribution level of just over 4,000 megawatts. Speaking in Abuja at the 2023 NESI Market Participants and Stakeholders Roundtable, NMPSR President Bola Tinubu said after 10 years of privatization, about 90 million Nigerians were still without power supply. The three-day conference has a theme, NESI privatization and its 10-year milestone, the journey so far, opportunities and prospects. Represented by the Special Advisor, Energy and Infrastructure, Office of the Vice President, Sadiq Waka, President Tinubu noted that the investment expected from the private sector never came. Elsewhere, President Bola Tinubu has appointed a top prosecutor for the Economic Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Rotimi Oyedepo, and 6 others as new aides. Reports say the new appointees have been deployed to the Federal Ministry of Justice, Abuja. They are to function under the Attorney General of the Federation, AGF, and Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi. Meanwhile, President Tinubu has received the German Chancellor Olaf Scholz at the presidential villa in Abuja. The Chancellor, who is on a 2-day visit to Nigeria, is said to have been accompanied by a delegation of high-ranking German business people, including chief executive officers, CEOs of some of the highest valued companies in the country, as well as by a cultural delegation. The two leaders are expected to explore ways of fortifying the bilateral relations between the two countries. Reports say the visit is the third major of Chancellor Scholz to Africa and his first visit to Nigeria since the inauguration of President Tinubu's administration on May 29, 2023. In the meantime, President Bola Tinubu has praised legal luminary Afe Babalola, the Chancellor of Afe Babalola University, who turned 92 today. He described the legal luminary as a visionary leader whose courage and versatility have impacted generations, inspiring and growing many leaders within and outside the country. Tinubu's birthday message was contained in a statement signed by his Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Ajuri Ngelale, titled, President Tinubu Celebrates Chief Afe Babalola at 92. Elsewhere, President Bola Tinubu has condoled with the Nwabueze family and the government and people of Anambra State on the passing of renowned constitutional lawyer and former Minister of Education, Professor Ben Nwabueze. According to a statement by the President's spokesperson, Ajuri Ngelale, today, Tinubu described the death of the former constitutional lawyer as a profound loss, saying that Professor Nwabueze's knowledge of law was outstanding. The president asked his family, the good people of Anambra State, and Nigerians in general to take solace in the worthy legacy that the deceased left behind. The president also prayed that God Almighty grant the gentle soul of Professor Nwabweze eternal rest. It will be recalled that the family, in a statement by Eni Nwabweze, said the senior advocate of Nigeria passed on Sunday at the age of 94. Away from that, former President Muhammadu Buhari has said that the country would have paid $15 billion if it had lost the case against the international firm Process and Industrial Development Limited, P&ID. He lamented that such monetary loss could be substituted to finance key infrastructural projects, among others. Reports say following a 2010 agreement between P&ID and the federal government, the firm pledged to build a gas processing plant in Nigeria. Recall that in a ruling on October 23rd, Justice Robert Knowles of the Business and Property Court in London held that the process through which P&ID secured the contract was fraudulent. Reacting to the matter, Buhari recalled that during his administration in 2015, he asked his former Chief of Staff, Abba Kyari, and erstwhile Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, to get the country a fair hearing. He noted that the firm, owned by Irish intermediaries who understood the systematics of the Nigerian market, won the contract to build a gas processing plant in Cross River State. In a separate development, the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, in the February 25, 2023 presidential election, Atiku Abubakar, has said that the October 26 verdict of the Supreme Court, though final, leaves much to be desired. The former vice president stated this at a press briefing today in the nation's capital, Abuja. He insisted that the then candidate of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Bola Tinubu, was not qualified to contest the February 2023 presidential poll, accusing the Supreme Court and the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, of supporting illegality, identity theft, impersonation, forgery of certificates, and perjury. Atiku added that when people lose confidence in the electoral process, democracy is on life support. Moving now to the Green Chambers, where the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Abbas Tajuddin, has assured that the President Bola Tinubu-led government will ensure that Nigerians reap the benefits of their God-given natural resources. Speaking, Abbas, in a statement by his special advisor, Media and Publicity, Musa Krishi, stated this while playing host to the Emir of Agwatashi in Nasarawa State, Abubakar Peshi, in Abuja. The Speaker, who disclosed that President Tinubu's administration would work in collaboration with the 10th National Assembly, said he is aware of the recent discovery of a crude oil reserve in Nasarawa State, particularly within the Agwatashi Emirate, following extensive geodetic survey by experts from the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited research. He expressed confidence in the commitment of President Tinubu to make Nigeria's natural resources work for the benefit of the citizens. In another development, the newly appointed Secretary to the Independence, Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, Clifford Okodiri, has resumed office, taking over from Professor Musa Usman Abubakar. In a brief handover ceremony witnessed by management staff of ICPC, Okwaradu expressed his appreciation to Abubakar for facilitating a smooth transition and stated his desire to hit the ground running. The new secretary urged all staff to form a bond of cooperation and support in order to surmount challenges that may arise during the course of duty. According to him, working in ICPC is a national call that requires honesty, mutual respect, and partnership to take the commission to greater heights. In his speech at the occasion, the outgoing secretary to the commission, Professor Abubakar, congratulated the incoming secretary on his appointment and presented a dossier containing his handover notes. In a separate development, the National Boundary Commission has collaborated with 7 northern state governments that share boundaries with the Niger Republic to curb the menace of insecurity and ensure economic cooperation and integration in Africa. This was disclosed today during a one-day workshop for the creation of Nigeria's platform for local border authorities along the Nigeria-Niger international boundary held in Sokoto today by NBC's Director General Adamu Adaji. The workshop themed Transforming Borders from Barriers of Separation to Bridges of Cooperation and Integration was predicated on the need by the federal government to proactively harness the abundant human resources for peace building nationwide. Adaji charged the participants to be purveyors of peace in their domains, stressing that promoting peaceful coexistence should be everybody's concern. Away from that, Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke has approved the dissolution of statutory commissions in the state with immediate effect. Members of the statutory commissions have remained in office since Adeleke took over the mantle of leadership of the state on November 27, 2022, as they have fixed tenure of office. The governor, after announcing the dissolution of the commissions, expressed gratitude to them for the services they rendered while in office. The affected commissions are the State Civil Service Commission, the Judicial Service Commission, the State Independent Electoral Commission, and the State House of Assembly Service Commission. According to a circular signed by the Secretary to the State Government, Teslim Ilabayi, the dissolution takes immediate effect. In another development, the Rivers State House of Assembly has begun the process of impeaching the state governor Siminayi Fubara. The state's lawmakers served an impeachment notice on Fubara after removing the state leader Edison Ehia, who is believed to be on the governor's side. Reports say 24 out of 32 members of Rivers Assembly have signed the document for Fubara's impeachment. The decision were taken at an emergency sitting by the lawmakers today. Oh God. In a related development, the Rivers State Police Command said it had launched an investigation into the security situation which occurred at the Rivers State House of Assembly today. This was communicated in a statement by the command via X, formerly known as Twitter, today. The command vowed to corporate responsible for the security situation. It will be recalled that there were gunshots and firing of tear gas within the Rivers State House of Assembly complex today as some lawmakers sat to begin the impeachment process of the state governor Siminayi Fubara. Also, about 23 lawmakers, including the Speaker Martin Omar Wuli, who presided over the sitting, resolved to begin the process. The lawmakers also suspended the leader of the House, Edison Ehie, and some of their colleagues believed to be loyal to the governor. Back here on the home front, Akwa State Governor Pastor Omoino has been honored with the Beacon of Hope Award for his sterling performance in barely 5 months of his assumption of office, courtesy of the Arise Agenda blueprint of his administration. The national president of the Apostolic Church, Apostle Samson Igwe, conferred the award on Governor Eno at a service marking the Corner Field Annual Convention and dedication of an ultra-modern field temple of the church held at the Corner Field headquarters, Nolcom, Ikono local government area. Speaking at the service, Governor Eno appreciated the Apostolic Church and by extension the entire Christendom for acknowledging the strides which has earned him the award. He commended the church for the support given to him during the electioneering period that saw to his emergence as the state leader and pledged not to disappoint them. Also speaking, the immediate past Governor Dom Emmanuel, who was also honored at the event with a Pillar of Development Award for his enormous support to the church and his outstanding role as best setter of the development and peace the church and the entire state is currently enjoying, expressed his appreciation to the church for honoring him and to the incumbent for being a governor for the church. Earlier, the progenitor of the church project, Justice Inyang Okoro, had thanked Governor Moeno for honoring God and the church with his presence at the event and extolled the immediate past Governor Dom Emmanuel for his enormous support toward the building and approving the construction of an access road to it. Government House correspondent Jane Noah reports that Justice Okoro also thanked all who made various contributions towards the building project in cash, materials and services, assuring them of God's unending blessings. Still to come in the news. Oil prices fall almost 3%. Stay tuned for details of this and more after the break.
Business exists only to meet the needs of the people, but there's an extra advantage if your product and services are pitched on a platform that gives you the added advantage over your competitors. For your desired frequency of 12733, Spectrum Television, broadening your horizon.
Thanks for staying tuned, and now to the rest of the news stories. In Africa, African leaders have convened to protect tropical forests and combat climate change at the Global Summit in Brazzaville, the capital of the Republic of the Congo. The summit was focused on the three major tropical forest basins on the planet, the Amazon, Congo, and Borno-Mekong basins. Reports say the primary objectives of the summit included building a global coalition to accelerate the energy transition and strengthening collaboration between the basins and recognizing the forest basins as the world's major ecological lungs. In the declaration following the discussions, the participants reaffirmed their commitment to lay the groundwork for a roadmap towards establishing a common framework for cooperation among the three basins. Meanwhile, President Felix Tshisekedi of the DR Congo expressed concern about the destruction of ecosystems by a neighboring country, specifically Rwanda. Still in Africa, Britain's King Charles III was heading to Kenya today, his first visit as monarch to a Commonwealth nation, where he faces widespread calls for an apology for abuses committed during colonial rule. However, much of the focus ahead of the trip has been on colonial rule, with the palace saying Charles is expected to tackle the more painful aspects of its historic relationship with Kenya. This will include the emergency of 1952 to 1960, when colonial authorities imposed a state of emergency in response to the MAU guerrilla campaign against European settlers. Reports say about 10,000 people, mainly from the Kikuyu tribe, were killed during the crackdown. The royal visit comes as Kenya prepares to celebrate 60 years of independence from Britain in December. Meanwhile, Ghana's National Security Ministry has defended the actions of its personnel who have been accused of brutality against civilians in an operation in the north of the country at the weekend. The ministry said that last Tuesday, an initial team of counter-terrorism intelligence officers were deployed to the town of Garu to conduct what it called a special operation. Without going into any more details, ministry statement said the officers were then attacked by an irate group of youths armed with AK-47 rifles, machetes, and other weapons. Reports say the youths fired multiple gunshots at a black Toyota Land Cruiser in which the officers were seated. In the meantime, a now South Ghanaian government minister has admitted that he accepted a cash gift of $40,000 in order not to offend the sensibility of a potential wealthy investor. According to an official report into the incident, Charles Adu Bohan was dismissed as a minister last November after an investigative journalist caught him on camera appearing to accept the money from someone pretending to be a wealthy sheikh who had expressed an interest in investing $500 million in the continent, including setting up an Islamic bank in Ghana. Ghana's Office of the Special Prosecutor, OSP, which looks into alleged corruption and corruption-related activities, launched a 6-month investigation and released its reports today. Reports say the secret filming by media company Tiger Eye PI also showed Adu Bohan asking for 20% of the intended investment as his cut and a fee of $200,000 for the vice president. The OSP report says the vice president knew nothing of the agreement. In his conclusion, Special Prosecutor Kisi Abawang said Adu Bohan exhibited a lack of sound judgment. His claim that he accepted the cash gift to avoid offending the supposed sheikh lies very thinly. assumed to be that of a gay man in the holy city of Touba. The body of the young man who died on Friday was sent to Senegal's second largest city for burial on the wishes of his family and in accordance with the Islamic law. Reports say the unidentified individuals arrived at the cemetery looking for the man's grave, and when having identified it, removed the body before setting fire to it in front of a large cheering crowd. According to local sources, the man was believed to be gay. Still in Africa, Egypt's media regulator has ordered the closure of an independent news website for 6 months while it is investigated on suspicion of spreading fake news. Mada Massa is accused of publishing material that damaged national security. The website's editor, Lina Atala, has been asked to explain a report that Egypt might have to accept Palestinians displaced by the conflict between Israel and Hamas. The regulator says it receives complaint from the public that the reporting undermined the Egyptian government's policy of refusing to accept Palestinian refugees. Meanwhile, Atala received the 2029 International Journalism Award for Outstanding Journalism with Impact. Meanwhile, Sudan's army says it has detained children who were forced to fight alongside the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces RSF in the ongoing conflict in the state-owned SpectrumTv, saying this unspecified number of children are held in Wadi Sina, northern Khartoum on 15 September. SAF handed over 30 children who were held as prisoners of war to the International Committee of the Red Cross, ICRC. The RSF has been repeatedly accused of violating international laws by recruiting minors in the ongoing conflict in Sudan. Meanwhile, the RSF said that 260 Sudan Army soldiers joined its ranks in Khartoum. Fighting continues between the army and the RSF in Khartoum, Darfur and Kordofan regions amid reports that renewed talks in Saudi Arabia are focusing on reaching a ceasefire and humanitarian support. On the foreign scene, Israel's Netanyahu today told a press conference in Tel Aviv that a ceasefire in Gaza will not happen as he vowed to win the war against Hamas. The Israeli Prime Minister's comments came after the Israeli army said that a female soldier hostage was freed from Gaza. According to the Health Ministry in the Hamas-ruled Palestinian territory, at least 8,306 people have been killed in Gaza amid ongoing Israeli strikes. In a related development, the Israeli government has confirmed the identities of 2 Tanzanians believed to be held hostage by Hamas groups since the 7th of October attack across the border from Gaza. Joshua Lotu Molel and Clemens Felix Metenga were in Israel as part of an agricultural internship program. Israel's Ministry of Foreign Affairs said in a statement it attached photos of the two. Meanwhile, Joshua's father told newsmen that Israel's ambassador to Tanzania contacted them with the assurance that the government was following up the matter. The father had earlier spoken about the family's desperate search for Joshua. Clemens' family is yet to speak publicly. Meanwhile, Israel's foreign ministry today said Shank had been missing since Hamas fighters stormed the Supernova rave near the Gaza border as they carried out the worst attack in Israel's history. Around 270 festival goers were killed. Shortly after the attack, images began circulating online of a young woman lying face down and nearly naked in the back of a pickup truck in Gaza filled with armed men. Meanwhile, Locke's family said they recognized Shani in the footage because of her dreadlocks and distinctive tattoos. Still on the foreign scene, Palestinian Ministry of Health in Ramallah says the number of people killed during Israeli strikes on Gaza since October 7 has risen to 7,950. According to the ministry's reports, nearly three-quarters, about 73% of those killed are from vulnerable populations, including children, women and elderly people. The ministry added that more than 20,000 people have been injured and 24 hospitals in northern Gaza with a combined capacity of 2,000 beds had been told to evacuate. In the meantime, French President Emmanuel Macron waded into a cultural war debates today, saying France should not give in to fashionable trends as he appeared to back a bill to ban inclusive language. French is tricky for those trying to be strictly gender neutral since most nouns come in masculine and feminine forms. According to a report, in the past, the masculine was used as the default, but increasingly people have started offering both versions separated by dots or dashes to be inclusive. And now it's time for the latest business and stock market stories. Here is Davina Praise Omang.
Thank you, Uyai Anyekan. Good evening. It is business news. My name is Davina Praise Omang. In the news, WTI crude futures fell almost 3% to around $83.1 a barrel today, close to two-week lows as traders mull the economic and monetary policy outlook and the war in the Middle East. Israel expanded ground operations in Gaza over the weekend, and although the potential for a broader conflict persists, it seems to have temporarily eased. At the same time, traders await key monetary policy decisions from the top world economies. Meanwhile, the World Bank said it expected global oil prices to average $90 a barrel in the fourth quarter and to drop to an average of $81 a barrel over next year, assuming the Middle East comes by as much as 75% to $157 a barrel under the bank's worst-case scenario, according to the World Bank report. Germany plans to invest in Nigeria's gas sector worth over $51 billion. The German Chancellor Olaf Scholz stated this when President Bola Tinubu hosted him at the Aso Villa. According to him, more investment in the gas sector positively impacts the global price of the product. He said if there is a better chance of exporting the produced gas, it is then the question for German companies to do their private business. Still in Nigeria, Nigeria's debt to China increased from $3.93 billion as of June 30th, 2022 to $4.73 billion as of June 30th, 2023, showing an increase of $800 million in 1 year. It is an increase of $20 million in 1 year. It is an increase of 20.36% from the second quarter of 2022 to the second quarter of 2023, according to analysis of the external debt stock data from the Debt Management Office, DMO. In a statement in June 2020, the DMO said the total borrowings from China of $3.121 billion as of March 31st, 2020 were concessional loans with interest rates of 2.5% per annum, a tenor of 20 years and grace period of 7 years. The Nigerian stock market report. Today is the first trading day of the week, and a total of 430.39 million shares in 7,656 deals, corresponding to a market value of 8.2 naira were traded. The all-share index increased by 975.13 basis points to close at 68,111.71 points. The current market capitalization of the Nigerian Stock Exchange is 37.4 trillion naira. 118 listed equities participated in trading, ending with 45 gainers and 16 losers. Northern Nigeria Flour Mills led the gainers with 10% share price appreciation, closing at 18 naira 15 kobo per share. On the losing side, Maya came out last with an end-of-day price depreciation of 9.87% at 2 naira 74 kobo per share. Universal Insurance Company recorded the highest volume of 94.8 million traded shares. Well, this is all on business news, and back to Uyai Aniekan for the rest of the news.
Thank you, Devina Praise. Still to come in the news. Ex-Spain FA chief Luis Rubiales handed 3-year ban by FIFA. Stay tuned for details of this and more after the break.
Business exists only to meet the needs of the people. But there's an extra advantage if your product and services are pitched on a platform that gives you the added advantage over your competitors. For your desired return on investment and so much more, advertise on Spectrum Television, on StarTimes DTH Channel 421 and on free-to-air with a frequency of 12733. Spectrum Television, broadening your horizon.
Spectrum TV, broadening your horizon.
Thanks for staying tuned, and now let's conclude the news at 9. In health, the Nigerian Medical Association NMA Federal Capital Territory chapter has called on Nigerians to exercise daily to ensure good health. The vice chairman of the chapter, Eno Ekop, gave the charge during the association's last day of activities to commemorate the 2023 Physicians Week in Abuja. Ekop said the theme of the week, "This is our chance to get it right in the health sector," gave an avenue for doctors to rest, exercise and give the citizens the necessary medical attention, adding that physical exercises help ensure good health. Still in health, the United Nations Population Fund, UNFPA, has supported for 104 patients at the Vesico-Vaginal Fistula Center at the Gabo Sawaba General Hospital, Zaria, Kaduna State. This was made known by the reproductive health analyst UNFPA Kaduna, Dr. Elvis Eborian, during an interview with newsmen. He said the free surgeries were conducted from January till date. Eborian said VVF, commonly known as obstetric fistula, is an abnormal opening between the bladder and the vagina that results in continuous and unremitting urinary incontinence. According to him, the condition is among the most distressing complications of gynecological and obstetric procedures, but can be reversed and repaired through surgery. We head over now to Utube David for the latest sports stories.
Hello, good evening and welcome. Thank you very much for joining. In sports, former Spanish Football Federation President Luis Rubiales has been banned from all football-related activities for 3 years because of his behavior after the 2023 Women's World Cup final. FIFA Disciplinary Committee had earlier suspended Rubiales for 90 days after his actions, kissing forward Jenny Hermoso on the lips, grabbing his crotch, and falling another player over his shoulder. Marred Spain's 1-0 victory over England in Sydney on August 20th and sparked multiple investigations into his conduct. The FIFA Disciplinary Committee banned Luis Rubiales, the former president of the Spanish Football Association, from all football-related activities at national and international levels for 3 years, having found that he acted in the breach of Article 13 of the FIFA Disciplinary Code. Mr. Rubiales has been notified of the terms of the FIFA Disciplinary Committee's decision today. Moving on, former England midfielder Danny Drinkwater has retired from professional football, becoming frustrated in limbo. Drinkwater helped Leicester City win the English Premier League title in 2016 and joined Chelsea for £35 million a year later. He left Stamford Bridge when his contract expired in June 2022, having made little impact and has not played since then. Drinkwater came through the academy at Manchester United but signed for Leicester City in 2012 before making a senior appearance for Sir Alex Ferguson's side. He helped Leicester City win promotion to the English Premier League in 2014 and was part of Claudio Ranieri's 2016 title-winning squad. Following his success under Claudio Ranieri, who he called Grandad, Danny Drinkwater earned his first of 3 England caps but was not selected by Roy Hodgson in Euro 2016. He signed for Chelsea in £35 million move in 2017 and made 22 appearances in his debut season. He failed to make a significant impression at the club and had loan spells at Burnley, Aston Villa, Turkish club Kasımpaşa, and English Championship club Reading Football Club. Finally, barely 3 weeks to the start of the group stage of the CAF Confederation Cup group stage, the African soccer ruling body has rejected the home ground of Dream FC of Ghana. Dream FC is one of the debutants in this year's competition, and they are placed in the same group alongside APC Lobito of Angola, Club African of Tunisia, and Nigeria's Rivers United. According to the updates coming from CAF headquarters in Cairo, Egypt, the Cape Coast Stadium has been rejected for the group stage match as Dream FC is making their debut in the tournament. Rivers United was in the quarterfinal of the same competition last season, losing to Yanga SC of Tanzania. Dream FC now has Baba Yara Stadium in Kumasi to host their games. And that's all we have for you on sports this evening. I am Mutabe David.
Thank you, Mutabe David. On our entertainment news, winners on Sunday night emerged at the 2023 African Movie Academy Awards, AMA, held at the Balmoral Convention Center in Ikeja, Lagos. The 19th edition of the AMA had Nancy Isime, Richard Atotoksin, and Rahama Sado as hosts. Ace Nigerian producer and director Kunle Afolayon's movie, Anikulapo, won 2 categories: the Best Achievement in Production Design and Usman Sebeni Award for Best Film in an African Language, while Senegal's Excel won Best Film and Best Costume Design. CJ Fiery Obasi's Mami Water won Best Film in an African Language, Best Cinematography, Best Sound, Best Screenplay, and Best Director. Similarly, Nzek Betum and Toby Bakari won Best Actor and Actress in a Leading Role for their roles in Gangs of Lagos and 4444 respectively. The event saw celebrities like Bimbo Ademoye, Odulade Adekola, and Nancy Sime, among others, in attendance. Still on entertainment, a federal high court sitting in Lagos has adjourned the continuation of trial of Nigerian singer Aziz Fashola, also known as Naira Marley, charged with cybercrime until November 13 and 30. Justice Nicholas Owebo adjourned the case today following the absence of Naira Marley from court. It will be recalled that the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, is prosecuting Naira Marley on charges bordering on cyber crime. Lastly, in the news tonight, world-renowned DJ and music producer David Guetta has once again pushed the boundaries of music with his latest single, Big Foo, featuring the Afropop sensation Ira Star and Chicago rap star Lil Durk. Big Foo is reportedly set to dominate the airwaves, streaming platforms and dance floors worldwide. The music video shows an unexpected house-influenced side to David Guetta's production skills, with the French mastermind crafting a slick groove around an infectious funk bass line. That's all we have for you tonight. Do want to follow us on social media. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, SpectrumTVLive.ng. This has been Spectrum Television News at 9. I am Uyai Aneka, and thanks for being a part of this. And do have a splendid night rest. Good night, Nigeria.